Well, once a company kind of gets a certificate on the wall, they tend to just leave it until the next audit, till the next time the assessor comes in. And then probably a couple of days or a week before, they start rushing around trying to do things that they should have been doing in the last 12 months. I think quite often the company will achieve the certification and then they see that as the means to the end. We've now got the certification, when in reality it's the start of a journey. You get your certificate, but then it's about how do you enhance, how do you continue to improve the business, and your management system is there to do that. I would say that it's kind of endemic in all the standards to an extent, or the management systems that are being written to those standards, only because people tend to slip back into the way they were operating before. The one standard it probably isn't quite such an issue is probably 45,001, and the reason for that is that the standard's written very much around what you need to do by law. So you will assess risk, you will document it, you will identify how things can be done safely, and you'll continue to operate in that way. I would say from experience, probably 80% of the companies that we work with tend to want the certificate on the wall, mainly because they want to work with a new client, or they want to tender for business and they're asking for those standards. We do get a few that once they achieve it, they embrace it and they look at continually improving. Probably the biggest or the most common issue is that there's a lack of buy-in into it. It's seen as somebody else is coming in and ISOing us in a way, when in reality it needs involvement of everybody so that they can transfer that knowledge, they can gain that knowledge, and they can continue to manage it afterwards. I would say leadership and behaviour is essential. The system's not going to work unless you've got buy-in from the top management. The top management need to be involved in it. They need to drive it, and we need to be asking pertinent questions to make sure that once it's in place, it's embedded, and people are continually working that way. I think quite often auditors will come along and they're meeting what they need to do. They're not meeting what the company needs or what the organisation really wants from the audit. So they can, if it's a remote audit, for instance, quite often it's just send me a load of documents, I'll look through it and I'll write my report up. That doesn't involve the organisation. It doesn't involve the management team or the people that are doing the doing, if you will. I think one of the biggest problems with management systems, it's not as bad as it used to be. Back in the days of BS 5750, which some of us can remember, we're that old, believe it or not, I know. They were really very bureaucratic, and it was all about ultimate control. Quite often you'll have a quality manager in an organisation that will write the management systems, and they'll write it in a way that kind of makes them indispensable. In previous lives, when I was employed, I used to, first of all, I would say that when I got a new job or a new role, that my first priority was to save at least my annual salary. That therefore I'm now working for free, but I also meant that I could simplify things and make it work properly. Tick box compliance, it can stop engagement. It can focus on just that area. Personally, I believe it should be a blend. It should be blended tick box to make sure you cover everything that you need, but you need to be able to expand a little bit more, look a little bit deeper, look at more in the way of how can that process be improved without making it more onerous, making it less onerous and easy to follow, but make sure that it's repetitive and that it also leads to continuous improvement. Oh, I guess they assume that the certificate is success, where, as I said before, it's not. It's the beginning of the journey. You've now got that standard as a minimum. It's not the target. It's a roadmap. Oh, I guess the best way of doing that and what you should be doing is setting KPIs, looking at what's important to you as a business, what's important to your clients as well. And that sometimes isn't what you think is important to your clients. It's about going out, talking to your clients, finding out what they see success is, and then measuring it against that. Oh, absolutely. Uh, you can have if the management system is written poorly in the first place, the best management systems in the world make you repetitive at what you do. So basically, if you've got poor quality going in, you'll get consistently poor quality going out. So what you really need to do is make sure that the way you write your systems is that you are looking at enhancing, you are looking at doing the best you can. So then you will be repetitive at doing the best that you can. The management system will perform a lot better because as long as you align your business needs, you look at the standard, what the standard's asking for, and if you set your KPIs and your business goals around that, but what's important to you as a business, as opposed to just tick boxing the clauses, if you will, you can meet the requirements of the standard without really improving yourself as a business. A living management system, what that means really is that you're living and breathing the standard. You are doing what you need to do for the standard because it's inherent in your business. It's a way you operate. Rather than waiting a few weeks before an audit to start filling in records, you're completely doing them all the time, every day, regularly. Visible signs. I guess that you can see people are working in a way that's repetitive. They're following the right ways of doing things. You could maybe if you've got a cloud hosted system, you can see the amount of people, the times that are logged on, the amount of people that are using it. Because really, you want a management system to be running the business. The better you develop that in the first place, the better it will run the business for you. ISO management systems should really be live. They should be set up against KPIs, and that should allow you to basically monitor how well you're performing through the data that's input into the system. Integration is essential. I've been doing integrated management systems for well over 20 years. I think the first time I put one together was in about 1996, when the standards themselves were pretty fragmented. And there wasn't even, back then, there wasn't even a health and safety standard, for instance. It's important because otherwise you're running parallel systems. You're not running one business management system. You've got one set of people out doing quality, you've got another people doing environment, somebody else doing IT, somebody else doing health and safety. And what you really want is the way you operate covers all them boxes, ticks everything, and gets everything done in a smooth manner, so that it's the way you run your business. Oof, distance between what you comply with and what you rely on. System that you comply with means that people are doing things because they feel that's needed for the standard, or the management system. In reality, you want one that you can rely on, one that's part of what you do every day, week in, week out, so that you are completely embedded in the management system, or the management system is completely embedded in the way the business operates. I think once certification is achieved, the senior management team need to ensure that it's visible. They need to make sure we've got visual measurements about the place, that the staff are aware that they've got a management system, aware of why they're doing it, and keep in touch with them. Let them know what the benefits are. Let them know, we've won a new contract because we've got this, we've got that, or we've reduced our insurance premiums by, as one client we had, reduced insurance premium by £60,000 a year because they had all the ISO standards in place. At the end of the day, insurance is based on risk. And if you're meeting international standards, then surely you're lower risk than the guy next door or the business next door that doesn't have those standards. I guess that the ownership gets pushed down the organisation is because people aren't comfortable with what the standard's asking for. Uh, People don't like to come to work every day and get told that they have to do something in a certain way. Uh, and I guess that a lot of senior management, they see themselves as more visionaries even than maybe somebody that needs to comply every day. And that tends to end up why they pass it on to somebody else to manage the system, which in itself isn't ideal. The All management systems are based on risk and identifying opportunities. So, for instance, the standards section 4.1 talks about context of the organisation. So what you need to do is really look at the context, and the senior management can look at that. Look at your competition. What are they doing? How can you keep ahead of your competition, or at least keep up with them in some cases? Look at what's coming down the line. What changes are there in technology? There's AI, for instance, has come along, and that's making a big difference to a lot of organisations. Some job roles are probably going to disappear. If you're not aware that your product's going to disappear in 5 years' time, you can't plan your business effectively.
Now, if you're watching this and thinking, I'm not actually sure how well we do this, that's exactly where a gap analysis helps. We put together a free gap analysis you can download. It walks you through the key areas and it helps you identify what you're doing well and, most importantly, where the gaps are to the standard. I'll drop a link in the description below. That's our gift to you. Enjoy.
Oh, mindset. It's very important that the senior management have got the right mindset. They need to make sure that we're not just looking at compliance, which is essential, but we're also looking at what that compliance looks like. How does it look like in terms of making the business better? When you look at the way you do something, how can you do that better? How can you do it faster, quicker, more repetitive, more accurately? That's the kind of mindset. It's not just, now, right, we've got the badge on the wall, so let's leave it. Let's look at how we continuously improve. I guess that you need to make sure that you are, as I said before, living and breathing the management system. You're doing things because they are enhancing the business. You're not doing them because the standard says that you've got to do them, which obviously you have to do because otherwise you're not going to get the standard. But what you need to do is make sure that you are living and breathing what you want, what you need to do as an organisation. Otherwise, you get quality manuals and procedures with dust sitting on a shelf. There's a number of ways of looking at that. In reality, you should be reviewing your management system all the time because you're looking to continuously improve. But you should really sit down at least, well, the standard says, it doesn't actually say, the standard doesn't tell you how often you need to have a management review, but it's generally accepted as at least once a year. Most organisations that run that probably do a review a lot more often, but probably don't realise it's a management review. For instance, as a company, we have an operations meeting every month. And during the operations meeting, we're covering quite a lot of what's involved in the management system. Management systems are better when they are simplified. The reason for that is the more simplistic they are, the easier it is for people to follow. They can become quite detailed. And again, when you're writing your management system, you have to write in a way that works for the business. So for instance, when you look at environmental management systems, or you look at environmental policies, we've all seen the policy that a company supplied saying, you know, every second Thursday we plant a tree. Or we'll go out and do a litter pick for the local community. When in reality, the ISO standard, you put in there what you actually do, so that you can actually live and breathe it, rather than putting things in there that are just not workable. Internal audits should be there. You're not looking for non-conformance, you're looking for compliance. But also, to that note, you're still looking for how can something be done better. It might be getting done, routinely, but are we recording too much information? Is that needed? Or are we not recording enough information for traceability, for instance? So the auditors should always be looking at ways of improving the process. Long-term success, it should be that your business is growing, your customer satisfaction is increasing, your number of complaints is reducing, your cost of activities is not becoming more expensive, and that generally you're running a more successful business. Well, what I would say to start off, and if you're starting off on the journey, is do your research. Have a look out there. There are companies offering certification that are not what we call UCAS accredited or IAF accredited. And what that means is that if you've got a company that comes in and tells you they can get your ISO in 30 days, and they'll supply all the documentation and then come and do the audit, the chances are, well, I would say 99% of them are not going to be getting you the certification that you need. What you need really, if you're looking at enhancing the business, you're looking at growing your customer base, you're looking at tendering, is you need a system that's UCAS accredited. So the certification body themselves have oversight. The United Kingdom Accreditation Service actually go in and audit those certification bodies. They make sure that the auditor that comes to your site is competent, that they understand your business, and that they're able to do a thorough audit and look for compliance and continuous improvement for you. Oh, in theory, there shouldn't be any difference between UCAS accredited certification and non-UCAS accredited certification. If it's been done right, the auditor should be looking for compliance, looking for continual improvement. In reality, though, a lot of the non-UCAS bodies are just there to basically sell you a system and make money from you. In theory, though, there's no reason why it can't be just as effective in terms of you running your company. You might not ever need to have UCAS accredited certification. You can still use a management system and develop it in ways that make you a better business. But some clients will insist on you having UCAS accredited certification. Others might not. I know plenty of companies that want to have the management system, they want it to be audited, and they want the auditor to find opportunities for improvement. To some extent, when you're audited by a UCAS accredited certification body, they are not allowed to give any advice or guidance. So in some ways, if it's non-UCAS, they're not bound by them rules, so they can actually help you. But unfortunately, what I tend to find from 30 years of experience is that it's not ideal if it's not UCAS. One thing that leaders should stop doing after certification, I guess take away certification, leaders should not be managing by fear. They should not be having a blame culture. What they need to do is make sure that everybody's open, everybody has an input, and that they can all work together to continuously improve the business. Start doing immediately. Engage with your staff. Ask them to be involved in the process. Ask them, is there a better way of doing something? At the end of the day, the people that understand the process are the people that are doing it day in, day out. Now, you might have a manager who doesn't quite grasp that process. They might know what they want out of it, and they may go down and put something in place that they think is the best way of controlling the process, when in reality, speaking with the guys doing the job, the people on the shop floor, the people inputting the data, whatever, they're the ones that are going to give you the best knowledge. Write the procedures in partnership with them, and you'll get more out of your system.